For years, men have been told a simple story. If you wake up early, push through your tiredness, have your strong black coffee, stay busy, and never slow down, you're doing everything right for your health. Especially after 60, that strict morning routine feels almost like a badge of honor. You hear things like, "I don't need breakfast, just my coffee. I've done this my whole life." Or, "If I'm not exhausted by night, I didn't work hard enough." But what if I told you that one part of that healthy morning routine is quietly draining your energy, irritating your bladder, stressing your heart, and slowly undermining your intimate vitality, even if you think you feel fine right now? Not because your body is failing, but because the routine that worked for you at 35 no longer matches the biology of a man in his 60s and beyond. My name is Dr. Mary Parker. I am a urologist and wellness educator focused on men's health, circulation, and vitality in the second half of life. I am not here to scare you or to lecture you. I am here as a guide to help you understand what is happening inside your body so you can make smarter choices for your health, especially your intimate health and confidence. This video is not a diagnosis. It is not a substitute for a personal medical consultation, but it is a clear roadmap. Today I want to show you how a morning habit that millions of men consider healthy is, in reality, wrecking the very systems you want to preserve: your heart, your blood flow, your prostate, your bladder, and your day-to-day vitality as a man. Let's start with a typical morning. The alarm rings, or maybe you wake up before it because your sleep isn't as deep as it used to be. The first thing many men do is reach for the phone. Emails, news, messages, maybe financial updates or worrying headlines. Within seconds, your brain is pushed into alert mode. Before your feet even touch the floor, your nervous system is already reacting to stress. You get up, make your way to the bathroom, and you might notice what you've quietly accepted as normal for my age. A weaker stream, needing more time to empty, maybe a bit of dribbling at the end, or the feeling that you didn't fully finish. You shrug it off, wash your hands, and move on. Then comes the sacred part of the routine: the coffee. For many men over 60, this drink is non-negotiable. Not one small cup, but a big mug or two, very strong, often on an empty stomach, and often before a single sip of water. You might not even think of this as a choice anymore. It feels like you can't function without that hit. You associate that first rush of mental wakefulness with health, productivity, discipline. You may even be proud of it. Just give me my coffee and I'm ready for the world. This is the healthy habit I want to talk about. Starting the day, after 60, with large amounts of strong coffee on an empty stomach, in a body that is slightly dehydrated, and a cardiovascular system that is not as flexible as it once was. In younger years, your body had more reserve, more elasticity in the blood vessels, and a greater ability to buffer stress. The same habit that you tolerated at 35 or 45 can become a slow, steady burden at 60, 70, or 80. The problem is not the existence of coffee. The problem is the timing, the quantity, and what your body looks like on the inside when that coffee hits your system. To really understand why, we need to talk about your nights. When you sleep, you spend 6, 7, maybe 8 hours without drinking any fluids. You continue to breathe. You lose water through your lungs, your skin, and your urine, especially if you get up to go to the bathroom once or twice at night. By the time morning comes, your body is naturally drier than you realize. Your blood is a bit more concentrated, your circulation is slower, and your heart is preparing for the most demanding part of the day, the hours after waking up, when blood pressure and heart events statistically tend to peak in older adults. Now imagine that internal picture. Your blood vessels, after decades of use, are a bit stiffer. Your heart has to push harder to circulate thicker blood through narrower pipes. Your kidneys have worked all night. Your prostate might already be a little enlarged, making it harder for urine to flow out smoothly. Your nervous system is adjusting from the slower rhythm of sleep to the higher demands of daytime. In that exact moment, your body is asking for one thing above all: gentle hydration and a gradual rise in activity. But that is not what most men give it. Instead, many men pour in a large dose of caffeine as the very first substance of the day. No water, no food, just strong coffee hitting a dry system. What does caffeine do? In moderate amounts and under the right circumstances, it can increase alertness, improve mood, and even support performance. But it also stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight branch. It can raise your heart rate, increase your blood pressure temporarily, and act as a mild diuretic, which means you lose even more fluid through your kidneys. So now the picture looks like this. Your blood is slightly thick from dehydration, your vessels are less elastic due to age, your heart is working harder to circulate that blood, and then you add a substance that tightens the system, speeds it up, and pulls more water out of you. It's like stepping on the gas pedal when the engine oil is low and the radiator water is halfway empty. Maybe the car still runs, but at what cost over the years? For a man over 60, circulation is not just a number on a blood pressure monitor. It is how awake your brain feels, how stable your mood is, how much stamina you have, and how well blood reaches delicate areas like your heart muscle and your pelvic region. A good intimate response depends fundamentally on one thing: blood flow. When the vessels that supply the pelvic organs are under constant stress, when pressure is high and the blood is thick, that flow becomes less efficient. Over time, day after day of this morning stress pattern can contribute to a decline in intimate performance and sensation. There is also the hormonal side. In the early morning, your body naturally produces more cortisol, a useful hormone that helps you wake up, stabilize blood pressure, mobilize energy, and get going. In healthy amounts, that rise is normal and necessary. But when you combine that natural cortisol peak with a large surge of caffeine, especially on an empty stomach, you can push your stress system into overdrive. You may feel very awake for a while, sometimes almost wired or jittery, and then 2 or 3 hours later, you crash. This roller coaster is not benign. When your stress system is constantly pushed, your body starts prioritizing survival over restoration. It subtly diverts resources away from functions related to repair, muscle maintenance, and intimate health. Over months and years, this can mean more fatigue, weaker muscles, lower resilience, and decreased confidence in your intimate life. You might think, this is just aging, but part of what you're feeling may be the cumulative result of starting each day with the wrong signal. Now let's focus on your bladder and your prostate, two organs at the center of male comfort after 60. The bladder is a muscular sac lined with sensitive receptors that tell your brain when it's time to empty. The prostate sits just below the bladder, surrounding the urethra like a ring around a straw. As the prostate enlarges with age, a very common and usually benign process, it narrows that passage and makes it harder for urine to flow out. This is why many men notice a weaker stream, hesitancy, dribbling, or the need to push a little. Caffeine complicates this picture in several ways. First, it irritates the bladder lining in many people, making it more sensitive. That means the urge to urinate can become more frequent and more urgent. Second, as a mild diuretic, it increases urine production, so there is simply more fluid for the bladder to manage. Third, if your prostate is already enlarging, your bladder has to work extra hard against that resistance, and the added volume plus irritation can overload the system. Picture yourself on a typical morning at the office or at home. You've had 2 large coffees on an empty stomach. Within an hour or two, you start feeling that familiar urge. You go to the bathroom. The stream is not as strong as it once was. You finish, wash your hands, go back to what you were doing. Shortly after, the urge returns. Over the day, this pattern repeats. Some men begin to map their life around the nearest bathroom. That constant discomfort isn't just a nuisance. It is a drain on energy and confidence. It's hard to feel calm and powerful in your body when you're always wondering, will I need to go again soon? Add to this the fact that many men over 60 are on medications that already affect fluid balance and blood pressure, such as diuretics for hypertension, drugs for heart conditions, or medications for swelling in the legs. These can be absolutely necessary and prescribed for good reasons. But when you place that medication pattern on top of a morning of heavy coffee, you amplify fluid loss and bladder load. It's like telling your kidneys, work double time now, at exactly the moment when your body might prefer a gentle start. Let's also talk about your energy curve. When you train your body to rely on strong coffee as the ignition key for your day, you teach it that natural energy isn't enough. Many men describe the same pattern. They feel sharp for a couple of hours after their coffee, then sluggish, then reach for another cup or something sweet to revive themselves, then crash again. This cycle weakens your sense of control. Instead of feeling like your body is your ally, you feel like you're managing a machine that constantly needs external boosts. That sense of being run down has emotional consequences. When you're tired by mid-afternoon, your patience wears thin. Little tasks feel heavier. You may withdraw from social interactions, say no to walks, or avoid moments of intimacy because I'm just too tired. Your partner might interpret this as disinterest, when the truth is that your energy has been spent badly, wasted in the morning instead of preserved for the moments that could actually nourish your life. So what can you do? The answer is not to demonize coffee or to strip all pleasure from your day. The answer is to restructure the order of your morning so that your body gets what it actually needs first. And stimulants, if you choose to keep them, are placed in a safer, smarter position. You don't need a complex program, you need a new sequence. Imagine a different kind of morning. You wake up and instead of reaching instantly for your phone or your coffee, you give yourself one small gift. 2 minutes of attention to your own body. You sit on the edge of the bed, place your feet on the floor, and take 5 slow breaths. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. As you extend the exhale slightly, you send a signal to your nervous system. It's morning, but I am safe. We don't need to panic to start the day. This simple breathing pattern reduces the intensity of that early cortisol surge and gently lowers the tone of the stress system. You may not see it, but your heart, your vessels, and even your digestive system can feel the difference. Next, before any coffee, comes hydration. Your body has been waiting for it all night. A large glass of water at room temperature or slightly warm is like refilling a river that has been running on low. If your doctor says it's safe for you, you might add a pinch of mineral salt or use an electrolyte mix appropriate for your health situation. You drink it slowly, not in one big gulp. In that moment, your blood becomes a little less dense. Your kidneys receive fluid before caffeine, and your entire circulatory system gets the message. We are replenishing, not rushing. After hydration, it is time to move, not in a harsh, punishing way, but in a way that wakes up your muscles and veins. Simple actions are enough. While standing, raise your heels off the ground and then bring them down repeatedly to activate the calf muscles, the natural pumps that help return blood from your legs to your heart. Rotate your ankles gently. Roll your shoulders in circles. Let your head tilt to each side, stretching your neck. Bend forward slightly with bent knees, feeling the stretch along the back of your thighs. These movements take 3 to 5 minutes and require no equipment, no gym, no special clothes. Yet they send a powerful message to your body. Blood flow is moving, muscles are awake, the day can begin. Now we arrive at a step that many men skip: a real breakfast. For years, skipping breakfast and relying only on coffee has been glorified as a sign of toughness or discipline. But after 60, this habit often backfires. A body that is trying to maintain muscle mass, protect bones, stabilize blood sugar, and support hormones needs building blocks in the morning. That means protein and healthy fats, not just caffeine and empty stomach acid. Your breakfast does not have to be huge or complicated. It can be as simple as 2 eggs with some vegetables, a small portion of Greek yogurt without added sugar with a handful of nuts, or a slice of whole grain bread with avocado and a source of protein. The exact details should be adapted to your health status and your doctor's recommendations, but the principle is clear. Give your body actual nutrients early instead of only stimulation. When you provide protein in the morning, you help stabilize blood sugar, support muscle repair, and moderate cravings later in the day. For a man in his 60s or 70s, preserving muscle is not just about looking strong, it is about balance, mobility, metabolic health, and even confidence in intimate situations. Muscle is active tissue. It stores energy, burns calories, and helps support healthy hormone levels. Skipping breakfast and replacing it with coffee repeatedly sends a different message. We are running on fumes. Only after these steps, breathing, water, gentle movement, and a simple breakfast, do we turn to coffee. The goal is not necessarily to eliminate it, but to move it from the role of first responder to a more reasonable place. Your first cup could come 45 to 60 minutes after waking, once your body has had time to rehydrate and receive nutrients. Instead of drinking a huge mug, you might gradually reduce the volume and strength. Maybe you go from 3 large cups to 2 moderate ones, or from 2 strong cups to 1 medium cup, and then switch to a gentler alternative if you enjoy warm drinks. What many men notice when they shift coffee later and reduce the amount is surprising. their energy becomes more even, their heart feels less racy, and they experience fewer abrupt crashes mid-morning. They also discover that they are capable of waking up without needing to shock their system. This can be an important psychological turning point. You stop seeing yourself as someone dependent on coffee and start seeing your body as capable of generating its own steadier rhythm. There is another morning habit we need to bring into the light: sitting on the toilet for long periods while scrolling on your phone. It sounds harmless, but it places sustained pressure on your pelvic floor and the veins in that region. Over time, this can contribute to hemorrhoids, pelvic discomfort, and increased tension around the structures that support the bladder and prostate. The morning coffee, with its bowel-stimulating effect, often encourages this pattern. You drink, you feel the urge, you carry your phone, and you stay there longer than necessary. A healthier alternative is simple. Respond to your body's signals when they are there, but avoid turning the bathroom into a reading room. Try not to sit on the toilet for more than a few minutes at a time. Avoid straining. Work on your fiber intake through fruits, vegetables, and whole grains so that bowel movements are smoother and require less effort. A relaxed, well-supported pelvic floor is valuable not only for comfortable urination and bowel function, but also for intimate comfort and responsiveness. To make this more concrete, let me share the story of a fictional patient, Robert, who represents thousands of real men. Robert is 68, retired, and proud of his discipline. He wakes up at 5:30, drinks 2 very strong coffees without water or food, reads the news for an hour, then starts his day. He goes to the bathroom frequently, especially in the morning and early afternoon. He often feels drained by 3 o'clock. In the evening, he complains that he has no energy for anything other than television. His confidence in his intimate life has declined, and he assumes it is simply his age. When we examined his lab results and overall health, there were some mild issues, but nothing dramatic. The most striking factor was his morning routine, so we tried an experiment. For 4 weeks, he agreed to change just this: no phone for the first 10 minutes, a large glass of water upon waking, 3 minutes of simple movement, a small protein-rich breakfast, and his first coffee at least 45 minutes after waking, limited to 1 large mug and 1 smaller cup later in the morning, no coffee after 2 p.m. He also tried to limit his time on the toilet and avoid straining. The result? After those weeks, Robert did not feel like a 25-year-old again, but he noticed real, tangible changes. He was visiting the bathroom slightly less often in the morning. His stream felt a bit stronger, and the sense of pressure in his pelvis had eased. Most importantly, he described his energy as more steady. When evening came, he no longer felt completely depleted. That opened a door. He was more willing to go for a short walk with his wife, to talk, to share time. With a little more energy and a little less tension, his intimate confidence began to recover, not through a miracle pill, but through respecting the biology of a 68-year-old body instead of forcing it to behave like it did at 35. Consider another case, Mark, 72, who believed coffee was his only weapon against constant sleepiness. He would drink cup after cup throughout the day, including late in the afternoon. At night, he would wake up several times to urinate and often had trouble falling back asleep. He felt exhausted in the morning and thought he needed even more coffee to function. It was a self-reinforcing cycle. When he restructured his morning in the same way, water first, movement, a real breakfast, modest coffee earlier in the day, and none after lunchtime, something shifted. Within a few weeks, Mark noticed he was sleeping more deeply. He still woke up to use the bathroom, but less often, and he fell back asleep more easily. By the afternoon, he felt tired, but not shattered. The absence of late caffeine allowed his brain to move through deeper stages of sleep, which in turn supported his hormones, his immune system, and his mood. This better rest translated into more clarity and more emotional stability, which carried over into his relationship and his intimate life. Again, nothing magical, just physiology finally allowed to work as it should. There is also the emotional story of someone like Luis, 64. His morning coffee routine wasn't only about energy, it was about comfort. Waking up, pouring a large mug, scrolling through emails and news, he felt in control. But that control was an illusion. His heart was racing, his mind was overloaded by negative headlines, and his stress levels were high before 8 o'clock. By evening, he felt drained, irritable, and distant. Intimacy felt like another demand he could not meet. When Luis agreed to change the order, breathing before screens, water before coffee, a small breakfast before work emails, he discovered something unexpected. His mornings became quieter inside. He still had responsibilities, but he no longer felt ambushed by them in the first minutes of the day. His coffee became a supporting actor, not the lead. As his nervous system calmed, so did his interactions with his partner. Less conflict, more connection, and with time, a more natural return of desire and confidence. All these stories lead to one central message that I want to express in a single clear sentence. The main problem is not that you drink coffee, but that your mature body is not designed to wake up dehydrated, stressed, and unfed, and then be whipped into action by a large dose of caffeine. When you change the sequence, hydration first, gentle movement, a meaningful breakfast, and then a moderate, well-timed coffee, you stop fighting against your own biology and start working with it. That shift supports better circulation, a calmer bladder, a less irritated prostate, more stable energy, and more reliable intimate health. And here is the part I want to emphasize with hope. It is never too late to reclaim vitality. Whether you are 60, 70, or 80, your body still has remarkable capacity to adapt. You cannot erase the years, but you can absolutely improve how you feel in the years you have. Your body is not asking for miracles. It is asking for consistency and respect. It is asking you to stop using stimulation as a replacement for care. So I invite you to look honestly at your mornings. Ask yourself, what is the very first thing my body receives every day? Is it stress, caffeine, and bad news? Or is it oxygen, water, movement, and real food? You do not need to transform everything overnight. Start with the simplest change. A big glass of water before anything else. Then add 3 minutes of movement. Then move your coffee 30 to 60 minutes later and pair it with a small breakfast. Watch what happens over the next few weeks. I'm Dr. Mary Parker, and it truly matters to me that men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond understand that aging does not have to mean surrendering their energy, their dignity, or their intimate well-being. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with a friend, a brother, a father, or a colleague. Many men are silently struggling with fatigue, circulation issues, and intimate worries, blaming themselves or their age, when part of the solution may be as simple as reordering the first hour of their day. If you'd like to keep receiving clear, practical guidance on men's health, circulation, vitality and maturity, and natural habits for longevity, I invite you to subscribe and stay connected. Together, we can replace fear and confusion with understanding and action, one simple, powerful morning at a time.